Hi, I'm the Celtic Cricket, and you're watching me on YouTube. Today I'd like to talk about spiritual communication, also known as seances. A lot of people are interested in having seances, and perhaps you've been to one. I do host many of them, and I've been to numerous ones as well. And I will say, no two seances are the same. However, they're a lot easier to conduct than you would imagine. And here are some helpful tips that I actually use in my seances. And a seance can be with 3 people, and we've had them as large as 15. One of the main things you want to do is you want to have it in a nice quiet area so you won't be disturbed by outside influences, barking dogs, doorbells, phones ringing, etc. When you're having a seance, the first thing you have to do is be relaxed. So it's a good idea to meditate or take some cleansing breaths and just relax. And as you can see, I like candlelight. Candlelight sets the mood, it's peaceful, and it just sets the atmosphere. I am calm and relaxed. I also like to work with some incense. I have some incense blowing on the table here. And today I am using wormwood. I find that wormwood incense is very good for spirit communication. Now when I start a seance, I do let everyone sit around the table and hold hands, and this is a good way of getting everyone grounded, everyone relaxed, and also opens everyone up, and you get a good energy flow that way. So when you have your seance, whether it be a party of 2 or 10, get everyone around, relax, and join hands, close your eyes, take in a few deep breaths, and slowly exhale. Once everyone is calm, they may unlock their hands if they want, or they may want to keep holding hands throughout the evening. A good seance should yield results within 45 minutes. I've had seances go 1 hour to 4 hours. Time does fly when you're in that meditative state. Okay. Some people want to use a lot of tools in a seance, and I say go for it, because I use different tools for different reasons. The first thing I like to do is ask any spirit that's connected to any of the people at the table to come through. And sometimes a name will come to you, sometimes the candles will flicker, you may hear a voice, or you'll just sense the presence of someone. In the event that this is not enough information for you, you can specifically go around the table and have all the participants speak a name. Somebody might come and say Aunt Sally or Uncle Edward and see if they come through. The main thing is to be open-minded and calm. I have never had anything in a seance that was scary or flew off the table or sent me yelling. You should be doing this in a tranquil state of mind. Some people will gaze into the candles to get their information, or in other tools. You know that I like my crystal balls. I often use a crystal ball on the table during a seance. Not only does it give me something to gaze into, it also is available for the participants to watch as well. As I get into spirit communication, I like to use my friend Bob. This is my crystal skull. It's clear quartz crystal, and it has been carved in the shape of a skull. And I've had a very good rapport with this crystal. And I usually put him on my table. And I may gaze into him and do some scrying while people are asking the names of their loved ones to come through. And if I don't use him, he certainly has his place during a seance, a crystal skull. So we'll just put him off to the side. I find it's always helpful when people come to a seance, and if you're trying to get a hold of Aunt Sally, and Aunt Sally willed you her famous ring, or her favorite ring I should say, sometimes it's helpful to have that on the table. Sometimes it's helpful to have a picture of Uncle Eddie, and you can put him on the table. You can also pass these around and let everyone hold them and get a vibration or psychometry. These are all little tidbits you can do in a seance. I also have a doll here, and this doll could belong to somebody that we're trying to communicate with, and perhaps by having the doll on the table, the owner of the doll may come through to us. Now, even without all these mementos, sometimes just saying the people's name, or perhaps an aunt of yours liked white roses, perhaps putting a bouquet of white roses on the table. Another thing that you can do during a seance, and I do it quite often, is I will use my pendulum. Now the pendulum is going to swing in different directions. It can answer yes and no questions, and the movement of the pendulum can certainly tell us if there's some spiritual activity taking place during the seance. Now, I'm using a pendulum spirit board, also known as a Ouija board. I know the word Ouija board scares some people. I've always been using these boards. And when you get someone that's coming through, and you feel that the spirit of an older gentleman, balding, possibly died of cancer, and this is what you're picking up on, but you want confirmation on his first or last name, you can simply use the pendulum or a Ouija board to help spell out letters, and that may give you a sign or the participant some validation that yes, his last name was Edward or his first name was Edward. That will come through by using a pendulum or a Ouija board. It's interesting, sometimes the information you get during a seance for confirmation may be, perhaps your Aunt Betty had a nickname for you before she passed away. So that name may show up. I've been to a few seances where particular brands of cigarettes or Uncle Harold's favorite beer was brought up. Yes, it's amazing what the spirits can tell us. Also, if you don't like crystal balls and you don't feel like using a Ouija board or a pendulum board, I also use a scrying mirror. Now, scrying, of course, is the art of staring into a surface, just like a crystal, and seeing what you can see. There's a couple of different ways. You can prop this up, or just simply lay it on the table. I like to lay it on the flat on the table during a seance. Now everyone will be holding hands, and we go around, and everyone will call in the loved one in which they wish to speak to. Again, seances can last 45 minutes to a couple of hours. It's always good to have somebody write things down too. So even if you're spectating or watching the seance, you should be open-minded and participate in it. And it can simply be you and a few of your friends relaxing, lighting candles, and thinking about your grandmother or favorite school teacher and asking that person to come forward. And again, don't be afraid to use photographs, jewelry, personal items, and a few tools. You can also just relax and focus on the candles and the incense, and you may hear things, you may feel them, sense them, or see them. No two seances are the same. I get my information through all these tools and all these ways, but not exclusively. When you've been doing the seance for a while, it's always proper to say thank you for the spirits that have come through, and thank you for their messages. Now, this is just a tidbit on having a seance. As you can see, they can be fun and rewarding, but they're meaningful to get information about those that have passed. So if you want more information, get a hold of me on the Celtic Cricket, and perhaps you'll want to come to one of my seances. Bye!